Welcome back to another Man's Cave video. Today we're going to be doing a lumber rack build, and as you can see from my disorganized garage, I definitely needed it, and here was the space I selected. So if you are new to this channel, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. As always, I do appreciate the support. And the first thing you want to do is bring out your handy dandy stud finder. You are going to want to attach this to studs, especially if it's going to be holding a lot of weight or you do have a lot of 2x4s. And then you are going to be cutting out 3 2x4 pieces, and that's going to vary depending on the space you have available. I believe mine was 40 inches, and then one was a little shorter because of this electric pipe that was randomly there from the previous owner. So those are the lengths I selected, and you are going to want to use wood that's been sitting around in adjusted temperature so it doesn't warp, especially if you get it from Home Depot. A lot of times it's really moist when you get it from Depot, so make sure it's dry and it's been sitting there for a while. And then after we do have our 3 pieces, you are going to want to have 4 or 5 inch screws, a leveler, and use an impact driver. It really will make this a lot easier. You can use a regular drill, but an impact driver will help you with driving in those screws. And here's a quick video of where I put the 3 bases. You are going to want to spread them apart so the weight is distributed equally. And then after, here's the template of the actual hold, and so I'm just cutting out some excess 2x4, or cutting out some excess plywood that I had, and then I marked it. And obviously these are gonna vary, right? So if you want your rack to stick out longer, it's gonna vary, but you'll see I have it as a 2x4 and a 2x4 on top, and then the diagonal is the length of the plywood. And like I said, this will vary depending on how big you want your rack. No pun intended. And again, I was too lazy to switch out my bandsaw blade, so I'm just using my resaw blade. Wasn't a lot of curve, so why not? And I was able to get 2 pieces per square. So, and then once you have the first template, you can use it to cut out the additional, or to trace out the additional templates. It'll make it a lot easier and pretty uniform, I guess, when you do cut out the other ones. And after we have all 6 pieces cut out, I'm going to show you guys how I come up with the template. So it's going to be that little 2x4 on the bottom is where the base is going to be, and that's how I traced that back width part. And then there's going to be a 2x4 in between the 2 pieces. You'll see once I actually put it together, and it's a little confusing to describe because I don't know how to label the pieces, but here I am just marking the width of that bottom 2x4 to measure and see how much I need to cut out that piece of the 2x4 on top. And again, this will vary depending on how big the rack is. So once I have that, I'm going to put this together. You are going to want to use a clamp. It will make it easier to keep it flush. And so yeah, that's the 2x4 piece I was talking about earlier. And when you do keep that 2x4 piece on the bottom, you'll see why we do it, because when you do attach this, it will keep it pretty tight even without a nail. So that's why we do want to make sure that we build the template around that 2x4 on the bottom. And then next, let's quickly connect the 2. Like I said, you do want to use a clamp. It'll make it really easy when you are drilling in and screwing in, otherwise it won't pop out. And you could use that clamp bar to kind of keep it flush with each other, and make sure to pre-drill. Obviously, I know it's 2x4, but I definitely like to use GRK nails. They are self-drilling or self-tapping, but I still always pre-drill regardless, just to force a habit. And these ones, you can use a 2-inch, 1.5-inch screw to hold this part in. Those 4-inch screws I mentioned earlier were for attaching to the base that's attached to the wall. So those handy dandy clamps will, like I said, keep this uniform and not pop out. And you're going to want to repeat this obviously 3 times, or however many holds you have on your rack. And after you are done assembling, it should be able to stick onto a 2x4 pretty tight, and that's why we built the template around that. Then obviously this is the optional part, but you can sand and finish. I didn't like to finish it. It was excess scrap what I had, but I just want to sand and make sure it was smooth and not splintery. And if there was like any excess pencil marks, but like I said, this is an optional stage if you want. It's a rack. It's not meant to look pretty. And after we have our 3 pieces done, a quick test, quick dry fit. It should be able to hold on to the 2x4 without any screws. Again, that's why we did the fit around the 2x4 when we were measuring and adjusting. And when you do screw this on, you are going to want to make sure that it is flush against the wall, right? That will help with holding more weight. And after I put one on or screwed one on, you do want to take a leveler and go in between before you screw on the next one. Like I said, having it as a tight fit will help you do this. It'll make it a lot easier. And again, make sure when you are screwing in, it is pushed up against the base as much as you can. And then that I'm gonna use a long leveler to do 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3. And then here's how it looks after all 3 are attached. It's quite the pretty lumber rack, as you can see. Just kidding, it is what it is, but I built it so I could add 3 more pieces on the bottom. And then here it is after the rack is holding some weight, just so you know it actually works and it's not just good in theory. But like I said, I built it so I could add 3 more pieces at the bottom. And as always, thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to hammer that like button and subscribe. And if you do have any other questions about the rack, feel free to reach out or leave a comment in the section below.